Hey there, I'm Han.
And I'm Kat, and we're Brews and Reviews.
Today is a different kind of video because I'm going to be Kat's glamorous assistant whilst holding up a tablet as she does her complaints with Kat.
Yeah.
I feel like it needs to have like its own theme music and
I
everything.
know, it should. Followed by, flames behind me because all these books deserve
Like
to be...
devil eyes.
Yeah, all these books deserve to be confined to hell because they're awful. So, as you might have guessed, I've got something to complain about.
You're very good at complaining.
Yeah, a bit too good. The book that I am going to be complaining about today, as you might have guessed from the title, is Blindsighted by Karin Slaughter. Now, I recently listened to this book on an audiobook because I thought I've listened to the Will Trent, or I've listened to the Will Trent books by Karin Slaughter, and I thought they're not the best, but they're all right stories, so that's why not? I'll give it Karin Slaughter a go. It was $5.99 on Audible, so I just thought, yeah.
Oh. I'm not bored or anything, don't worry. Just tired.
Blindsighted is Karin Slaughter's first book, and it was written back in 2001. Now personally, I know that's like 16 years ago, but this is not that long ago. It's not long enough ago for the things that are in this book to be okay, or of the norm. This book has no likeable characters in it. None of them. They're really annoying, or really selfish, or homophobic, or racist, or sexist, or just shitbags. So, you've got...
Shitbags.
Yeah. These three characters who are technically the main characters, right? You've got the detective guy, who I think was named Jeffrey. His name was Jeffrey. Yeah. And there's the pediatrician / morgue lady, Dr. Sarah, and then there's the other detective lady called Lena. She's called Lena. Okay, so this is obviously how invested in this book I was. It's taking me a while to remember these characters' names.
And you're incredibly happy with yourself when you remember them.
No, because honestly, so in this book, it starts off with Sarah going to a cafe to meet her sister and be like, "Oh crap, what's going on?" And it was like a weird accent, so
oh yeah,
it was a weird audiobook accent thing. It was, "Oh hi Rube, will you come to enjoy? Hey, how you doing?" We're like,
just
"Oh,
putting in."
She's been very cute. She's like, "Calm down, love, calm down."
She's like, "It's okay, you don't need to be sad. I'll make you happy again."
Okay, so after that brief interlude with the dog, Sarah's in the cafe with her sister, and then they're just talking about her ex-husband, about who is Jeffrey, because obviously there has to be some sort of love romance thing going on there, even though he cheated on her and they split up, but she's still madly in love with him and thinks about him in church, and has a discussion with her sister and her mother about how she's squirming in church, and I find that a bit odd. That's just weird. Anyway, so she's like, "Alright, I'm just gonna go into the bathroom, sister." And then she goes into the bathroom and she's opens up somebody's stall and finds this woman who's been stabbed on the toilet. Don't know, had been stabbed a bit on the toilet.
Why didn't she go in one that was already open?
She just pushed the door open and there was this woman stabbed in the toilet. Her name was Sybil, which is, by the way, nobody is called Sybil who is under the age of 80. Apart from Sybil Trelawney, who is, I don't know how old she is, but she's a witch, so it's okay. So anyway, this woman is blind and she was murdered on a toilet, and then the morgue lady freaks out and she's like, "Ah!" And as the other one's seizuring and then dying. So she was almost dead on the toilet and then died on her. So she's
traumatic.
Well,
it's not a nice way to go, is it?
Well, no, it's not. So she phones up her ex-husband. She's like, "Jeffrey, I need you." And he's like, "Oh, she needs me, I must come now." And she's literally stays there on the bathroom floor like pretending that this woman is like someone she knew. Really, she's like cradling her head and pretending that she has some sort of connection to the dead lady, as if you wouldn't just be like, "Fuck me, dead person."
Yeah.
Like, I'm not being funny. Like, that's not the reaction you have. You're just not sat there like, "Oh, dead person."
Yeah.
So anyway, that was weird. And then it turns out that this woman who's been murdered is the identical twin sister of the other detective lady, Lena. And there's a whole like...
What? And what? This woman's 82?
No, she's not 82. She's like in her 30s.
You just said she was 82.
No, but no one called Sybil is under 82.
I
So this is the confusion here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Sybil is dead. Her twin sister comes back and is all like immediately a bitch. She's like, I mean, even before her sister is like, she finds out her sister's murdered, she's like a bitch. She's all fuck you and shit bag and punch and shit and all that. She like just comes in and just says all that shit, and she goes in and like has it out with Sarah, who is, you know, autopsying her sister. She just has a go at her and she's like, what the hell did you do and all that. Which, fine, I guess everyone's angry if the sister's been murdered. Like, you would be angry.
Yeah.
But then she's just totally not a normal person, like, at all. And she like drink drives her way to her uncle's house, and then like she's like has the nerve to complain about how the fact that he was like a speed junkie, and she's literally drunk driving all over the show, and you're like, this is not okay. And she's also has like these really like awful thoughts about the fact that her sister must have been murdered because she was gay, and like she like talks so much about her sister's partner called Nan, and she's like, she doesn't deserve anything, she doesn't mean anything, she's just a woman, she doesn't matter at all, like completely invalidating. It's so homophobic, and like, oh my god. And she's like trying to make out like she was totally fine with her being gay, and I was like, me, that's like, oh my god, stop. I was so angry. I kept saying, I was listening to this at work and I was like, this is making me so mad. Like, why are these attitudes? Why does this think this is okay? Why do you want me to like this main character if she's gonna act like that? And like, other people on the police force, they're in like the lodge, which I guess is some sort of like weird Masonic thing, I guess, maybe. There's like basically a bunch of men who are like really sexist, and they like, there's even like a comment made about how they don't think that like it's women's place to like be in the police force or like open doors or like go on investigations and things like that. They are also incredibly racist. Like, they're like, oh, there's one black guy in the town, he must have murdered the lady, let's throw a brick in his window and try and shoot him. Like, so we've got homophobia and sexism and racism like all over the show, and it is just terrible. Now, aside from these things, which are obviously the most just the worst things to have in your book, especially because there is no resolution to it. There's no like, this is not wrong, this is just how people are. Like, that's not okay to have in your book, maybe. I called the murderer within an hour and a half of an 11-hour book. I said to people at work, I was like, right guys, if it isn't this guy, I will eat my keyboard. Guess what?
It was the guy. To eat the keyboard.
Yeah, my keyboard still intact. I was literally like waiting for it. Like, as soon as it like revealed it, I was like, called it, called it, called it, called it, called it, called it, called it. And everyone was like, that's a terrible book if you've got that in that time. I was like, yes, it is a terrible book. It's terrible. So I guess who the murderer was. It was super obvious, like, because it was like, what's the point of this character / side plot line if it isn't this guy? I mean, I also called another twist. It wasn't really a twist, but like another thing that was going to happen. I trust if you've got this far into this review that you're not going to read this book, because please don't, because it's terrible and you'd be wasting your life. The homophobic character, Lena, who's identical to the murdered character at the beginning. Somebody else gets murdered in the meantime, but obviously she gets kidnapped by the murderer because she is the same type. Like, she looks the same.
Right.
Like, there's a big thing made about the second girl who gets kidnapped, and she's like, oh, she looks like the first victim. I'm like, well, identical twin sister. Why are you mentioning that unless she's gonna get kidnapped as well? Oh, well, look what happened. She got kidnapped. I mean, who is surprised? No one. It was so predictable and badly written, and characters were unlikable. I mean, let's go to Jeffrey now, because Jeffrey's got his own problems. He's like all manly man, but then he's like, oh, but like I like women, like I trust women and all that, and like he had an affair which ended his marriage to Sarah. Like, in his own thoughts to himself, it's like, I had an affair because she didn't pay enough attention to me and I wanted to hurt her. And then he's like, it didn't mean anything. Like, he's like, the rest of the book, he's like constantly, like, it didn't mean anything at all. It was fine. It was fine. You know, I just did it. It was just a mistake. I was like, no, but you said you did it intentionally to hurt her. So, like, which is it, you liar pants? And then, obviously, a convenience of convenience, they get back together at the end because, you know, nearly getting murdered is like, I don't care that you had an affair, let's have love again. So he's got some problems. Also, right, I'll come back to him in a second, but Sarah, who, you know, is supposed to be the strong lady who has a lot of problems throughout the book. She's not strong at all. She's a big weirdo. But... Stop it, you're making me laugh.
That's why. She's a big weirdo.
She is. Anyway, turns out she's a rape victim. Like, it's like, oh, woman in this book, rape victim, rape, 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 rape. All of the women in this book have been raped, apart from her sister and her mum. Like, literally all of them. I think statistically, that's probably quite unrealistic, especially like violently like stabbed in some sort of like murder crime type thing. So that's weird. And Jeffrey, on finding out that in the past Sarah was raped, decides that he's gonna go off and find the guy that did it, even though he's already like jailed up and stuff. He just decides that instead of saying to her, oh my god, but she leaves like him like court case files to look at, and that's how he finds out. And instead of like comforting her and going, oh my god, why didn't you tell me this, and all this sort of like thing that, you know, normal human beings would do, he just decides to like drive hundreds of miles away to beat up a guy. And then she's like, yeah, I kind of needed you here after that, rather than like fucking off. And he's like, but I did the right thing. And she then, after all this, they still get together at the end. It's just basically terrible book, right? Made me very angry. I needed to get this out, hence why this has happened, hence why Hannah has been my glamorous assistant here, looking like, kill me now, I don't ever want to read this book. Don't read this book, guys. There are so many more things that you could do with 11 hours of your life.
11 hours is a long time.
I know. I mean, these nails on here that like used to like be stabbed through people's hands to like crucify them to the floor. I mean, I'd rather like stab them into my ears than have to listen to that again. So there's a conclusion for you. Don't read that book. I don't write Karin Slaughter off at all. Like, I enjoyed her Will Trent series that I've been reading. Like, I've been enjoying that, but this series, I will not be continuing with it. It has so many problems. Like, it didn't even actually give you a resolution on whether, like, Lena was okay. At the end, it was like, oh, they found her. Who knows what happened next? But because we actually care more about the couple getting back together and snaking a wedding ring out of the drain, like, fuck yes. I want to know if the woman who's just been, like, crucified and raped and had her teeth pulled out and stabbed and stuff, is she okay? I mean, I know she's, like, got her own problems and I don't like her as a character, but I care more about that than I do about, so, like, please, just make me care about actual characters who are worth caring about. Don't give me this crap. So, in conclusion, I wouldn't read this book. just don't waste your time. And hopefully it'll be a long time before you see us for another complaints with cat video. If you like this, if you've got any comments on this book, please let me know. See you next time.
See ya.
Bye. So, you alright there?
Fine, hang on. Okay.